now on Facebook, so that's good. And then see if you can angle the camera so you can, I don't know if you'll be able to see on Facebook both me and the screen. Let's see. We'll see where I need to position myself here to be able to do that. The microphone should be okay there. If I stand here, I'm in the shot, but you guys on Facebook aren't going to see the images so well, but that's just going to be how it is. But I think this is going to be good. Okay, so let's just do one more check, please. Can someone on Zoom tell me if I'm sounding okay? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So let's get going. I'm going to make up for some lost time here. Thanks for your patience, everyone. And hello on Facebook. If you can, see if you can angle it just a little bit more because I need to be close so they can hear me. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Wonderful. All right, what are we going to do today? We're going to do a year in review. It's almost been one full year since we first did our distribution for the first time. So we're going to get into review of that. We're going to answer some common questions. We're going to talk about taking some action, and we're going to talk about next steps. So let's do that. A year in review with Superior Can. What might we have here? Let's see. Well, there's the origin story. This is probably the shortest version I have for giving the origin story here. In response to COVID-19, community members of Superior came together to uncover meaningful ways to support their town in a time of need. The result was the formation of Superior Can and the launch of a youth feeding program to provide aid to families in need. Everyone's like, yeah, we know. Good. Just a quick reminder. This is all going to be a quick reminder. You may remember that in late April of last year, we did a fundraiser. We raised the goal that we needed of over $4,500 to do the youth feeding program. We had so many generous donors help out. Hey, there's Sherry Tomerlin. Cool. And after we got the money, we were able to order some food that we needed to get in order to provide the food to the students. We worked with the schools, the bus drivers, various community members chipped in to help us out to make this a success, to get the word out and to support in different ways. There's Jessica Ray, who just saw us posting on Facebook Live like we're doing now, and was like, I'm going to go over there and help those people. And she did. And it was very helpful because it was another way to spread the word when this was all just a new thing that no one really knew about at the time. We had folks like the Hings come and help us out with bags, gloves, and masks and various supplies. And really, we've had everyone pitch in. I mean, we even had the VFW come and help, and they've been instrumental in the packing and some of the behind-the-scenes work that we've done to make all this a success. And let's not forget the Youth Council, who jumped in to help and has been consistent ever since. And a lot of you guys, at least some of you that I see, are on this call right now. So big shout out to everyone who's helped, to the youth especially who help out your peers, and to the teachers and to the community leaders who go out of their way to help out the town. Shout out to Superior Sun, who made a couple articles about some of the work that we were doing. It takes a village, you know. We have been doing some good work, and it's got the attention of the community, and people are grateful for what we're doing. You, of course, remember that we've had this continuous improvement that we were doing, especially a lot in the beginning, where we were evaluating our progress, we're seeing how we're doing, giving ourselves a grade, and then deciding what we want to do to improve things more next time. So here's a quick shot of us doing that here. You can see that week 2, we had a lot of things that we needed to do in order to make it even better than it was already. And so we had this continuous improvement that we're doing all along the way. Here's a quick timeline. You'll see that what we were trying to do is establish some kind of consistent pattern. This is kind of hard to do in the beginning when you're just starting something out. So you'll see May 2nd, we did our very first weekend distribution almost 1 year ago. And then we went from every weekend to every other Thursday to monthly on Thursday. And then finally, around November, we hit a nice pattern of every third Thursday. And we've been carrying on with that ever since. So you guys see the updates on Facebook letting people know. We usually print out some stuff and put it at Save Money so people can see when it's happening. And we're doing our next distribution April 15th. So yeah, every third Thursday. It's been a nice solidified pattern since. How do the numbers look? Well, this is pretty significant. We'll start off with 16 distribution events, approximately 160 volunteer hours, and over 11,000 meals served to members of our community. So why don't we just give a quick round of applause here. Let's give ourselves a hand. We didn't have to do this. We could have been sitting at home and watching the news or something, but we have been taking action to support our community members. Rock on. Okay, so it's been a year that we've gone through this about, and let's get some answers to common questions. Let's see what's coming up. Okay, great. You've done all that. Now what? You've gathered us all here. We're having the spring kickoff meeting. Like, what's this all about? Well, we will get to that. So we are definitely going to get into where things are going, but let's just do a little bit more reflections if we can. So after a year of doing this, what lessons have we learned? Well, we've learned a lot. I can't cover them all. We only have so much time, but let's see what's maybe the most important lesson of them all. The big lesson is we're awesome. We're awesome. We are awesome. Now, we already clapped for ourselves, so we don't need to do it again, but it's just a nice reminder that we are awesome. What we're doing is important, and how we're doing it is also important. There's what you do, there's how you do it. And to me, this looks like a big party. I see a DJ over here, DJ Soupy Town. I see Raven dressed up. I see people doing all kinds of different things to make this a fun kind of experience. There's what we do, there's how we do it. They're both important, and I'd say we've done a pretty good job. So I'm very pleased, and I hope you are too. Okay, now let's get into some other things that we've learned along the way. Okay, so there's the work Superior Can does. What's the work that Superior Can is doing right now? Anyone? Anyone? Yes, over here.
We're helping children in need.
Helping children in need, yes. And we're doing that with our feeding program, right? Mm-hmm. Totally. Okay, that's right. So that's what we're up to right now, and that's what we've been up to for about a year, like we said. And like where that comes from is this general idea that we're evaluating community needs and designing and implementing grassroots interventions to meet those needs. And that's what we've been doing. That's a manifestation or an expression of that is what we've been doing with the youth feeding program, which you just mentioned. But like, why are we even doing that? Oh, because we're a group that comes together to figure out what needs to be done, and then we find ways to do it, and then we do it. So that's really what it's about. But some observations is without evolution, things become stale. Like we've been doing this feeding program for a year. It's been about the same since we hit that third Thursday pattern. It's like, okay, we figured it out. We've asked ourselves enough times what we need to do to change things and improve things. We did that, and we said, okay, we're going to keep it as is, and we're going to keep it running. Now, that's fine, and that's good. But like, if you remember some of the early days, there was like a kind of like fire about what we were doing. And that's not necessarily here now every single time. Why? Well, because when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you can start to feel like you're kind of going through the motions. It can be a little mechanical. So maybe there's some of that going on. But ultimately, we need to be intentional about how we develop the work that we're doing, like how we move it forward more. If we just do the same thing forever, then there won't be the kind of energy and vitality that we've experienced and we know is possible in the work that we're doing. Okay, what else? Another one, Superior Can itself. Okay, so you got the work that we're doing, but remember, if it's a community of people coming together to figure out what the needs are and then to find some plans to implement and meet those needs, well, we haven't really up to this point put too much of a focus on like us as a whole. Like we are the network, like all of us that are here right now, like you all on Zoom, everyone I see here, the people who couldn't make it, like we are all the network as a whole. We want to say, how can we connect and support each other more? How can we deepen our connections and support each other? Like, yes, we do the community work that we're doing, but what about like for us? Like, how are we helping each other out? Like we're a community. We should, like normally we'd be doing this anyway, but sometimes we need like an extra little boost to like remind ourselves of how we are here, which is helpful to each other. And one way we can do that is by focusing on supporting each other who are all here right now. And I can tell you that for myself, I mean, there's been, I don't know how many, I know at least a few of you have had birthdays who are in this network, and like, what are we doing to celebrate the fact that you're alive and are giving us this gift of your presence? What about when people die in our families? I mean, a lot of us have had deaths and have had some mourning. Well, how are we coming together to support each other? We're all here doing this work together. What are we doing to help each other out? And so I know, just for me personally, I've noticed, like, in hindsight, a number of missed opportunities to support all of you within this network that we're a part of. And then I'm sure you can reflect on times that you might have wanted to help out folks more too, who are the people willing to like sweat and stand outside and wave signs and pack bags. It's very important that we're taking care of each other too. Part of that is like we need better communication methods. Like if I have a group chat and then someone says, oh, I want to be on the group text. Well, if we don't have some type of a system to address that, then we have to start a whole new group text, and then people fall off the group text. There's all kinds of reasons why we need better communication methods. We also need to be intentional about the connections that we're doing. These are pretty good lessons, I'd say, and they're outside of the norm of like, we need to pack the bags differently, which I kind of think we do need to do, but that's not really the point of what we're doing today. Here's another one I thought was interesting. We all want to help. We don't all want to design and plan. This is just how it is, right? Some people are just like, hey, I want to show up, like, tell me what I need to do. I'm going to do it. Let's roll. Other people say, oh, I think we could be doing this differently, or have we thought about this opportunity within the community? There's people who are interested in organizing how we get the work done, and that's not always everyone. And so that's just something that we realized and said, okay, like, well, what do we do about that? It might be something that seems kind of strange if you're always being asked to participate in some things that you're not really into. Ideally, we find the things that people are into, and then you could participate in those ways. Maybe that's all the things, maybe that's just a little bit of the things. That's fine. Some other questions. What does the future of Superior Can look like? I've definitely been asking that question, especially as we move into the springtime when you have this sprouting of new life. Well, what about for Superior Can? What's going on with us? I'm so glad you asked, PowerPoint. I'm so glad you asked. Okay, well, let's just take a look at all the things that we saw for some of the things that we've learned. Okay, we need better communication methods. We need to be intentional about how we connect with each other. We need to be continuously developing how we're being intentional with each other. We need to, not everyone wants to help, or everyone wants to help, but they don't know what to plan and design. All right, so what do we do with this whole collection of things that we've learned? Ideally, the future of Superior Can is addressing this in some way. Well, here we go. I know this is the crescendo you were waiting for. Is that one of the things that we're doing is creating a Superior Can planning circle. So this will be a group of folks who are specifically looking to give input on how we go about doing the work we're doing, what opportunities we might want to pursue in the community that are different than what we're doing today. All the kind of planning and organizing, that is going to be where Superior Can Planning Circle comes into play. So what that means is, like, you don't need to be part of the planning circle to be a part of the network. You're already a part of the network. You're here, we're talking, we're connecting right now. And so we do want to improve how we are connecting and how we can support each other, and we'll get into that more as far as ideas of what that can look like. And then there's the work that we're doing, but then there's the planning of the work itself. So in the back of your mind, be thinking, well, am I interested in doing the planning circle stuff, or is it maybe just the work when I can and supporting the people who are part of the network organically as time goes on? Just ask yourself that question. Next thing about the future of Superior Can. Who can tell me something curious about what they're reading here? And let's go to someone on Zoom, please. When you read this, what are you thinking? Are you like, something seems a little bit different? Anyone on Zoom, please?
It says aid, not action.
Oh, that's right. I can't see your name for who said that. Who said that, please? Was that Mike?
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right, it says aid, not action. So this is a shift from Community Action Network to Community Aid Network. Why would that matter? Does it matter? That's an interesting question. Well, when you think of Community Aid Network, let me just hear from someone what comes to mind about how that might be slightly different and how that might relate to some of the things that we've just looked at and discussed already. Action versus aid. Who cares? Why does it matter? It's still Superior can. Hi, people on Facebook. We can't hear you right now. I'm sure you have an answer or a piece of feedback for the question that we're asking, but the distinction between aid and action. So I'm just going to go back a few slides here just to see if this helps with anything. If we think about this point here, about how we could be connecting with each other. And we think about these two different lines of work, we call them. The work that we do within ourselves as a group, as one line of work, and then the other one is like the actual work that we're doing. Why would it be aid instead of action in this idea that I'm advancing here? Mary Martha.
Well, maybe because you're trying to now provide aid to each other and help each other, and it kind of, makes it not so broad. Action can be a lot of different things, and then aid is kind of like a more kind of caring and nurturing kind of word. So that's what I would think.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So you might not have heard, but one thing that Mary Martha just talked about is this word aid has like a kind of caring and nurturing focus to it, whereas action seems like it can kind of be anything. And yeah, I think that's slightly what we're getting at here. When you say Community Aid Network, you can, because it makes sense like that you'd be doing aid within your own group of people that you're helping with. Like, yeah, like the idea of like us having like a prayer request list or like a birthday celebration list of like people, like to know whose birthday it is and to do something sweet for them. Like that seems more clear to me if we're a Community Aid Network. If we're a Community Action Network, I mean, maybe you guys want to start organizing parades for someone's birthday. I think that'd be cool. But like, just naturally, what happened with the name of Community Action Network is it kept all the focus here in this work line, and we weren't really thinking. At least I wasn't, and I didn't hear anyone else bringing this up, that we should be helping each other out more. But when we move it into this realization that there's the work we're doing and then there's how we support ourselves as a network, well, that's where this aid concept starts to make more sense, because it can work in both. Like, we're doing community aid when we hand out the food to the youth every third Thursday. And we can also be seeing how this is aid for each other and how we're helping each other out. So a small distinction, but an important one, because it highlights this dynamic between the two, which now that COVID is starting to lighten up in the sense that we have vaccines and there's less restrictions, and some people are now like able to go outside again, we want to start bringing back the concept of human beings being around each other slowly, safely, and that also means how we are with each other. Okay, let's keep things rolling. How are we doing on time? All right, halfway through, we're good. What does the future of Superior Can? Blah, 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 blah. Words I just said, okay. All right, what's the relationship between Superior Can and regenerating Sonora? Has anyone ever asked this question? Any show of hands? Everyone's like, "Whoa, I got this thing. What is that thing?" Yeah, a little bit. No. Yeah, me too. I've asked that question too. I'm kind of kidding. Let's just talk about some of this stuff right now. Okay, so Regenerating Sonora, you probably already know, is a 501c3 with a vision of all life thriving in the Sonoran Desert. So obviously Superior is in the Sonoran Desert, and we see that the community work that we're doing here in Superior can have ripple effects across a much larger space than just our own community. So I don't want to make this so much about regen because this is about Superior Can. So let's just look at a few things. What you're looking at is our actual org chart that we use within Regenerate Sonora. You can see you've got the board here, the board of directors, and we're using something called sociocracy as our governance system. And so sociocracy is a way in which you can start to distribute decision making so you operate more decentralized. And so that's what you're seeing here, is that each one of these circles, they all have a domain that they work within, that they care for, that they look after. And if it's in their domain, then that circle doesn't have to ask the board for anything about anything, because they have their domain, they have their aims that they're achieving, that they're striving for, and they set their goals, and they make their own decisions. Okay, so that's good to know. Why? Because can anyone see how what we've been talking about around the planning circle with Superior Can might possibly fit in to the organization of Regenerating Sonora? Anyone? Anyone? No, not seeing it yet. Anyone on Zoom? Someone on Zoom. How about now? Huh? Superior Can Planning Circle? Huh? Superior Can Planning Circle? Right? So there you go. You can see that the notion of having this circle that is able to organize and plan and make things happen within the Superior Can network itself is a connection point into the Regenerating Sonora board and the circles that we have. Because we already said that if it's in the domain that you're working on, in this case Superior Can, like Superior Can is the thing that we're working on here, well, then the board doesn't have to be like, well, I don't think you should pack. You shouldn't pack that with 12 lunches. You should pack them with 8 lunch. That's not something that we're dealing with here. What we have is the ability to be connected with a 501c3 for if we want to do fundraising, if we need some insurance things. So we get that capability by being connected with the organization of Regenerating Sonora, but we still get all the autonomy of us deciding what it is that we want to do and how we want to do it. So that is the most direct way that I can say that there's a connection, which is that within Regenerating Sonora, we use sociocracy, which is our governance system, and that gives distributed decision-making to the different domains. One of those domains, Superior Can Planning. Within that domain, the circle that we'd be forming here, and that's what I will be getting to in a moment, is that we want to see of the folks here who might be interested in joining this planning circle, because now you're in a place where you're connected with the nonprofit Regenerating Sonora, and your domain is within Superior Can, and you're able to get things done within your circle. So that's the idea. There might be questions around that, so hold them for now. Maybe write them down if you have them, so we can come back to it. We will have time for questions, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so then a question might come up. What else is Regenerating Sonora up to? So you guys are going to be helping us with Superior Can from an organizational development standpoint. That sounds good. Okay, but what else are you guys doing? Well, if you remember, each one of these little circles here is one of the circles from here. So just to see if you're following the imagery there, okay? So natural capital, one of the things that we're doing, and some of you on this call are very well aware, is a micro farm project. And so this is something that we're working on here. You can see that we're in the very beginning stages of this, and it's quite exciting. Some of the growing technology that we're going to be using shows how you can take something with very little effort and not much water and very quickly start to grow things of significance. So we'll be bringing that growing technology. What you see here is like a small prototype, and here is it being implemented, in this case at a school somewhere, someone's backyard. It's pretty exciting technology, and that's one of the things that we're doing with the Microfarm project. You probably know about the Prickly Pear Festival. We're not sure exactly what this is going to look like for 2021. Like the word festival and the date 2021, they just, they're not as, it's not as bad as if you said that in 2020, but still, we've got to be careful about this. And so we may just have it where it's like a foraging event, because that's outdoors and you can be far away from each other, with some vendors at some different places, but we're not really sure at this point. So just stay tuned and know that we're thinking about that. Then there's something else, and I could talk all day about this because I'm super excited about it, and it's also like not something most people have ever heard of before. We are doing a project and a process called Sense Maker. This is when you get stories from people all throughout the community, and then you find the patterns in the stories. That way, as a community, you can come together and make informed decisions about how you want to help your community. And so there's more to it with this one. I'm super excited about it, but you'll be hearing more about it later. I just want to let you know about it. And also, this is about Superior Can, so let's keep it on track. Okay, now what? Sounds good. You guys are doing some stuff. You got this Microfarm thing, this other thing. What else do we need to know about it? Are we thinking about it? Well, let's just go back to this structure here. That way, this is where we'll actually start getting into like what we do next. So hopefully you guys see these three lines here. There's like the planning circle, us as a network, which is all of us who are all here, and the people that couldn't make it that would care to. And then we've got the work that Superior Can does itself. Let's just look at each one of these. In short, the work that Superior Can does, this is the let's get her done. That's what you're into if you're doing this one. Superior Can itself, this is like the let's connect and support each other. This one is the let's figure it out group. Okay, so you kind of get a basic sense, but let's get more specific. So within the youth feeding program, within the work Superior Can does, you have the youth feeding program, which you know about. And then the question is like, will there be other projects that we'll be doing or taking on? Well, whether there's more work for Superior Can to do or not, we'll see what the planning circle says about it. And of course, they'll be getting input from the network as a whole. But if you're interested in seeing that we go a certain direction with Superior Can, then you may want to join the planning circle, or at the very least give some specific feedback that can be used when we make some decisions about what we're doing next. Superior Can itself. Okay, so this is just some ideas. As a community aid network, we look out for each other. That might be prayer requests, birthday celebrations, emergency help if someone needs something, borrowing and donating amongst each other, emotional support during hard times. These are all things that we can do as a network together, and this is where we can start acting like the kind of community that like we know like has been so normal for so long that becomes less normal when our lives get busy and when things become disrupted by something like a pandemic. So more reason for us to be supporting each other. Spending time together. When this becomes more acceptable and safe to do, going on some desert trips, having some movie nights, random adventures, getting together for food. These are things that humans like to do with each other, so maybe we should try some of these things and see how it goes. I like being around a fire. I like eating food. And I like doing that with people. And I like doing that with people who are like working towards making our place better. So that's the idea here, right? So how this ends up happening is all like organic and self-organized. Someone says, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, and how about we all participate in this together?" Or, "Hey, I'm writing some thank you cards for people in the community. Do you want to work on this with me?" Or whatever it might be. So-and-so's birthday is coming up. Let's do something for them. That's things that are all self-organized. But then there'll be initiatives from the planning circle of like, okay, like let's try this out, and here's how we go about doing it from the planning circle. So you get the idea. Then the Superior Can planning circle. Remember, you got the org chart there. You can see this, same as this, same as this. Okay, so who is going to be involved in the planning circle? Well, it's really someone who is interested in some of the following: discovering and deciding what work we should be taking on, dreaming up and organizing how the work gets done that we're doing, designing, organizing, and driving events and initiatives that build connection amongst our network. Some immediate discussions to be had so we can get concrete is, do we stop, modify, or continue our youth feeding program? What are we going to do? Well, if you're interested in being part of those discussions and you want to help steer us in a direction, then join the planning circle. Currently, the existing members of the Superior Can Planning Circle: Bridget, Mike, and myself. Very lonely group. We need some more folks. You know, we kind of just got the very start of it, and now we're at this next phase of ensuring that we can really be decentralized and have it be much wider than just 3 people figuring this stuff out. That's not going to work long term. So as a review, you got the work Superior Can does. Let's get her done. You've got the Superior Can itself, us as a network, as a community aid network. Let's connect and support each other. And then you have the people in the Superior Can Planning Circle. Let's figure it out. So you got your heart, you got your hands, your heart, and your head. And so you can see how these things all have a place where they can get to work. So how we actually do this? Signal. Okay, so this is an app. If you don't have a phone, then work with your parents to let you know what the messages are. If you do have a phone, then know that there's 2 group chats. There's a Superior Can group chat, and that's like for all of us, and we should all be a part of that. And then there's a Superior Can Planning Circle group chat, and that's mainly for the planning circle to communicate, so it's easy. And so if you're in the planning circle, then of course you'll be in 2 of them. And if you choose to not be, then you'll just be in the one main group chat. So Signal is a way that we're going to be communicating with each other, and we're going to exercise the principle of immediacy. So if you don't already have Signal downloaded on your device, like in this actual very moment, then please take a minute to download it like right now. And I already have it, so I'm just gonna like pretend like something fell out of my pocket. I'm gonna pretend like I'm like downloading this right now. So just do this right now if you haven't already done it. I think some of you already have, so that's good. So when you download Signal, you'll see that there's this Superior Can. We don't have a picture yet. We have 7 members right now, so we have some more people that need to join. You can see there's like yeah. You've already seen this. Okay, so join this right now so we can be talking with each other. If we don't have the comm line in place, then it's just like way too hard to get things done in any meaningful way. Next question is, who wants to join the planning circle? What's the commitment? I want to know. If I'm going to join this planning circle, there's no way that I can be meeting every day for 5 hours a day. Well, okay, how about just once a month? So that's what it is. The Superior Can Planning Circle will meet once a month. That's the commitment. If people want to meet more than that because they just love to do it, well, that's up to people to do on their own. But we'll be meeting once a month. That's the idea here. The only criteria to join at this point is that you've helped us out in the past, which I think is everybody that's either here present or on the Zoom call. Folks on Facebook, I'm not sure about y'all, but I'm glad you're here with us anyhow. Okay, so you have an idea of what the planning circle is all about. Now the question becomes, who would like to join? Now the way that we work in the planning circle is based on consent. So we don't just like show up and someone just says like, we're doing this now. And be like, hey man, like, what do you mean? Like, maybe we like need to discuss this because that might not be a good idea. So we wouldn't just be like, these people are all now part of the circle. This is kind of a formality because frankly, if you've participated and you're here and you've helped us out in the past, then the existing circle members who are Mike, Bridget, and myself, I'm pretty sure everyone would consent to anyone on this call joining, but we don't want to skip some of these steps that we need to take, because the process of using sociocracy is like a huge gift when you actually follow the steps, because then there's like not a bunch of wasted time and weirdness going on like can happen when organizations get together. A lot of that is totally removed by us following a particular process. So that's the only thing that's stopping us from saying, yeah, you're a part of this right now, as we do this formal step to make it happen. But before we even get there, we need to find out who is wanting to join the planning circle. So we'll start with folks here in person, and then we'll take down the names of people who would like to join. So anyone here interested? Yes? Excellent. And yeah? Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Okay, right on. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's go to folks on Zoom. Who is wanting to join the planning circle? Folks on Zoom.
Right here, I'd be interested.
Okay, that's JP.
JP.
Thank you very much. Right on.
I can too, Christopher.
Wonderful. Okay, that's Valerie Garcia Denojian. Okay, thank you. And no pressure, Natalie, if you don't want to join, you know. All right. Well, you can always let us know later. So, what are our next steps? Whale. Hang on. Before I get that, there's actually something that I'm really hoping to do. Somehow this just got skipped. How could we skip this part, Bridget? How could we skip this part? I would like to introduce to you all, because I've done a lot of talking today, but I would like to introduce to you all Bridget Pinate. Come on up, Bridget. Let me get this mask
boy.
on, wherever it is. Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
So,
Hello.
I just want to say that Bridget is a board member of Regenerating Sonora. She is a super mom. She is a community member of our beautiful town of Superior. And she's been a huge contribution to us in Regenerating Sonora, and is going to be taking an active role in what we're doing with Superior Can. The whole idea of decentralization is you want to ensure that you have a diversity of folks that are working on things. And like, I've been doing a lot of talking for the last year, and that is going to start to slowly change for that not being the case, which is a good thing for all of us, because Bridget has a lot to offer, and I'm so happy that she's here. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do in the community, and then where we go from here, okay?
Okay, so for a lot of you that don't know me, I'm Bridget Pinate. I've been raised here in Superior. All my family's here. I'm raising my kids here. I am so excited to be part of this group, and the work that you guys done over the year has been amazing, and I hope to continue to contribute to that and make it fun and just really see things blossom and grow for Superior, and especially getting the youth involved and just having a really active part and be able to make it your own. So I'm really excited to be here and to work with all of you guys. So that's pretty much all about me. I don't know what else, Chris, you want me to say, but that's about me. Good? So you want to go to the next? Ready? Okay, so we're going to talk about next steps. Okay. So what are the next steps for Superior Can? So Superior Can Planning Circle members will meet on usually April 14th, but sometimes we might meet before then. But we'll do a consent round on all the people that requested to join the planning circle. So all of you will get a little notice through Signal. So make sure you download Signal and get on our group, because all the notifications, any updates that we have on the planning circle or in the Superior Can group will all be on Signal. So, and again, when it comes to the planning circle, when we do the meetings, we want to make sure they're convenient for everybody so that everybody can make it and that you just have a good time. And it's definitely when you have time to be able to be there with us. And then again, I'm going to stress it a lot. Get on Signal to see all our updates. Because that's the way we're going to connect with everybody and make sure everybody's doing okay. Like Chris said, be a support, make sure everybody's okay, and just really shoot out those updates for upcoming meetings. And if there's any changes, it's all going to be through Signal. So that's pretty much it for our next steps. And Chris, do you have any more to add before I?
No, you could talk about what's on the next slide for the fundraiser, and then see if people have questions, and you should be able to field whatever questions people have.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I want to show you a little flyer we have on this.
Woo! Flyer!
Yes. So we're going to talk about Regenerating Sonora has a GoFundMe page right now. And as you can tell, Chris had talked about all the projects that we're trying to do for our community. Sorry, stumbling a little bit. But we need help. And that is as simple as us setting up a GoFundMe page, like we have a picture, but we have these cute little flyers that we can give out. And I will also send out the link for it in Signal so you guys can check it out as well. So this just tells what our GoFundMe and what the funds will go for and help us in our projects. Along on the back, it has a one-pager. So if you're not exactly sure about what Regenerating Sonora is about, it has a one-pager on the back. So you can read this and also see our GoFundMe on the back. So another cool option that we have to be able to help out and support us is, give me 1 second while I pull it out. We're also doing Amazon Smile, because if you go through Amazon Smile, a percentage of your purchase will go to Regenerating Sonora. So you might say, I can't really put anything for GoFundMe, but if you shop on Amazon, you can do it through Amazon Smile, and a portion of it goes to us, and that still helps us out. So Facebook Live, I got that right there too. Put that up there. So this will also be in Signal so you guys can see, and it's instructions on how to set it up for that. So that's basically it as far as the fundraising. We're also looking for other ideas to be able to come up with fundraising to get more money to be able to do more projects in Superior. So if anybody, when it comes to the planning circles, if you have ideas, we welcome new ideas on how we can be able to do this. So does anybody have any questions from Zoom? Anybody here? Questions? No? Nobody from Zoom? No questions? Chris, want to add anything?
If no questions,
think we're good.
Any comments or things you want to share, let's hear from you guys.
Mike says they're good. Everybody's here's good? All right. Well, awesome. I want to thank everybody for your time tonight. I know sometimes after working a long schedule and having to do an afternoon meeting can be a little tiring, so I appreciate your time and being able to show up and just being part and supporting us. It's been awesome. So I'm going to hand it over to Chris to close it out.
Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much for joining. Really excited about where things are going. Happy spring, everyone, and we'll be in touch on Signal. See you there. Peace.
Adios.
Oh yeah, Valerie, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I have the app, and do I have to select members, or do I just search for a group name?
Well, if you've got Signal now, then we just add you into the group. So that is a good functional question, which is like, what do you do after you get Signal? Talk to someone who is a member currently, and they can get you into it.
I can also send them the link.
Oh, and then Bridget says that she has a link that she'll send to everyone on the call here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So.
Okay, cool.
So you'll get the link, or you'll get it that way. So yeah, either one. Great question. Very important.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, anything else from anyone before we jet? All right. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Later.